Labels. You can't live with them, you can't live without them, right? Hi, I'm Angel. Thanks for stopping by. I think about labels a lot throughout my life. I have a degree in special education, and so I'm aware that, sometimes getting the right label. I also have health issues my whole life, chronic disease. So, both of those are great examples of how a label can be of a service or disservice, depending on how it's used and the context that it's in, and whether or not we're using it to gain something or as a limiting belief, basically. And a lot of times, it's that double-edged sword thing where if you accept a label for yourself, there's often anything has pluses and minuses, right? But for me, one of the tricks is to recognize that we are adaptable, flexible, imaginative beings, and so I can, the whole point of having language and labels and titles and tags and diagnoses and all of that is to serve us. So the second it stops serving us, let it go. Use what serves us in any given moment. So, it's tough to remember because I think at least I do, I tend to get attached as soon as if I accept a label and I own it, say I have chronic disease, for example. I mentioned that earlier. Since I was young, I was diagnosed with autoimmune disorders and told that I would have a series of various diseases to my organs, and sure enough, I have had that. I've kept it, I think ultimately, had I not had that diagnosis, I don't know that I would be any more or less healthy than I am now, and it's only maybe by having that and jumping into what Western medicine does and does not have to offer someone in my circumstances. For that, I was quick to, by my 20s, realize that I had to take my own healing into my own hands more deliberately than I already was. And so that's led me down a path of, my own basket of healthy and unhealthy living, like we all have, right? The point of that is just, there's no way of knowing how different that might have been had I not had that labeling early on. And that's true of pretty much most of the labels. You get a label with your ethnicity, you get a label with your gender, you get all these labels, some of which seem more permanent, more fastidious than others. Still, all of them, if we identify with them a little bit, can turn out to be a limitation, even if at some other point they are a help. They can be, anything that can be a help can also be a hindrance, I guess is really what I'm getting at. And I know, again, back to in special education, we're getting a label can be really helpful to get funding, to get appropriate teaching. The more, it doesn't always work out that way. Of course, there are many flaws in the system, but when the system is functioning optimally, we still need those labels as the system currently is, in most cases at least, to then be able to provide individualized instruction and funding to the kids who need it most. Now, I have argued, and I continue to say and believe that the ideas that are instilled I have a degree in special education, and they teach individualized instruction and a lot more about labeling and diagnoses than just general education, obviously, where it's kind of a more cookie cutter, approach. However, I think if we did more of that upfront individualized instruction, tailored stuff within, if we had the broad system include the tailored individualized stuff, then the whole organization would end up better in the long run. This is a pervasive thought process that I have regarding architecture, cities, labels, education, my own relationships, kind of across the board, my own health, my relationship with my body. Anyway, I'd love it if you have anything to add to all that. I know that was a little bit, I don't know what I'm going to label this. This talk, just labels. I think It's important to, it's not like I have a right answer. It's the same thing with like sex and sexual consent and you know, truth. Those things are fluid. They take ongoing dynamic conversation and observation and thought, not all the time nonstop, but regularly pause and think, you know, give it a little thought, listen to somebody else's thoughts, all of that. So if you want to share some of your thoughts, I would love that. I really would. And if you want to support me, there are lots of ways you can do that. A link to in the description, including my eBay store, my Etsy store, my Amazon author page with some books I've published, more on the way, coming soon, and some music on Reverb Nation, and more spreading out from there. I've got a website where you can hire me for some private consulting work if you're into that sort of thing. That's outdoor building, unique, one-of-a-kind sculpturing, by the way, in case that sounded fishy to you. I like to play, in case you hadn't gathered that already. That's my main mission here, is playfulness, and to inspire you to play more, because everything's better with play. As always, till next time, I wish you love, lightheartedness, laughter, productive conflict resolution, peaceful confrontations, and playfulness. Don't forget to drive forward.